like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Welcome to Two Women in Crypto, a weekly podcast birthed on a whim by two women who are excited about the cryptocurrency landscape and have a shared passion about empowering others to step into the digital, tokenized world of the future. We offer tips, tricks, and our own individual insights as to how to begin to navigate this shift. We are not financial advisors nor experts. We are just here to encourage you to look at the possibilities. So welcome to the future. You're right on time. Good morning.
Good morning, beautiful. How are things in Portland?
Things are nice. We're beginning to get a touch of spring weather, which is good, especially for those in the Northwest that are vitamin D deficient. So it's feeling nice to see some weather changes. But there's more important things going on besides the weather. How about you? How are things down there in Florida?
Things are good. Things are good. Bringing in the spring sunshine here in sunny Florida. So, yeah, it's like time for spring, planting seeds for new beginnings.
What could be more appropriate than the whole entire landscape of the world? let's just scrape the surface and start from scratch, shall we?
Every once in a while, I get this feeling of concern.
Yeah. It's definitely, you got to be grounded in it, that's for sure. Grounded in other things other than what's going on out there. Yeah, it's a wild ride.
Yeah. It's interesting because, life is still pretty good here in America. But I want to dive in and talk a little bit about, the BRICS nations and some more of the trading partnerships that are going on. I think Kelly and I both were watching some videos that have been circulating around with President Xi meeting with Putin. And, they are looking to get off the SWIFT system, right?
Yeah. I think it's pretty much probably very solidly in place. And then what you're seeing now is just kind of for show, saying, can't imagine that they're just now putting the pieces of the puzzle together. But yeah, they're ready to move.
Yeah, they're ready to move, and I feel like they're moving. When Kelly and I were watching this one video, and Xi was shaking hands with Putin, and they're just like, they created a change that hasn't been seen in 100 years.
Yep.
So what this means is that, once Russia and China start doing trade, which Russia is now agreeing to do it with the Chinese yuan.
Right.
Okay. So again, this means that we will not be doing trade with these countries using the United States dollar. So we are in the process of actually seeing the United States dollar losing the world reserve currency.
Right. Yeah, it's a really historic moment.
Yeah. And again, most of the dollars that are traded are outside the United States. So if those dollars come back to the United States, I think Americans are really going to be in for a shock. Because again, like, I'm out in the community, Kelly, and I don't, you know me, I'm always trying to spread love and education and just like, hey, like, don't listen to me, but do some research.
Right. And that's what we try to encourage every podcast.
And it's so important, like, now more than ever. I'm looking at Iran, Argentina, Mexico, Saudi Arabia. They're all lining up to be a part of the BRICS nations. Yeah. Once Saudi Arabia joins the BRICS nations and we stop doing international trade using the United States dollar, our lifestyle in America will change. There is privilege that comes with a nation that has the world reserve currency.
Right.
And we are losing that. And again, it's like, go to any major city and just look around. You could see things are changing, not for the better, but just very, very interesting. And, please just keep spreading the word, try to explain things the best way you can to people, because once change happens, it's over.
Well, and I think what's really difficult is, as you know, majority of the population is looking at mainstream media, and you're not seeing this covered on mainstream media. You see tidbits maybe, but no, I mean, really the hard truths aren't being covered by mainstream. So they don't really want you to understand what's happening. So you really have to be willing to peek behind the curtain. I mean, one of the favorite programs that I go to is a program called Redacted on YouTube. They're also on Rumble, and they cover the news, and I think in a very, very neutral way. And, they're just kind of, and they're not looking at what and who the White House is hosting or anything of that nature. They're looking at what the real news is, in my opinion. And
Right.
it doesn't have to do with what we're really being force fed through our media channels.
No, absolutely. I don't see a lot of talk about the BRICS nations making deals, right? And again, I think that the system is designed this way. And just think about what you learned in school. How much economics, how much did you learn about financial systems and how trade works? All of these things are very, very important to understand. And there is just a general consensus of very little knowledge out there.
Sure.
I went up to this crystal shop with my wife a couple of days ago, and I asked them, do you know who Jerome Powell is? And they don't know. They don't know.
No.
And again, it's like one man, I'm listening to him yesterday, and I'm like texting Kelly out because I thought it was the day before that they're going to raise, interest rates like, 0.25 basis points, which they did. But that one person, based on what he says, moves the market. Very centralized. Very centralized. And then I look at the actions that the SEC and the government in general is taking. Very anti-crypto stance, right? At least for now, that is the narrative. I think it was just yesterday, Coinbase, was sued by the SEC for, providing like an interest staking account. Like, you could earn a couple of percent on your USDC, some other tokens. This is a publicly traded company that has been sued by the SEC during an economic crisis that we're having. No problem. Let's take it all down.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the United States. We've talked about this many times. They've made it very difficult in many ways for us to participate in the crypto market. And we do have Coinbase and we have Binance.us, but overarchingly, the activity that's happening outside of the US in the crypto market is amazing, right?
Absolutely.
Very supportive of it, but of course not here. So, and I always think that they try to draw your attention to that, what they really don't want you involved in. So they're like, fear all around crypto. Are you kidding? That's just hogwash. So it's just really interesting to watch the play.
Yeah, it's such a good point because like as we transfer over to this new system, what I believe is this is like going to be the largest transfer of wealth we have ever seen in our lifetimes, maybe even in history. And we can see our government coming after us to not participate.
Yeah.
So we got to get educated. When you start to hear government officials blaming cryptocurrency for the instability of the dollar and our banking financial system, that is a lie. We have $1 trillion in our banking system. I mean, in crypto. That's it. It's not big enough to be like a national concern for our current financial system. And what's really interesting, again, like looking at BlackRock, looking at digital, Fidelity Digital Investments, all of these companies are moving towards the blockchain, decentralized finance, And when you participate in decentralized finance, you do use the tokens, crypto tokens on that platform. So it's going to be a merge of traditional finance with decentralized finance. And again, like, don't listen to what they say, follow what they do.
Right.
And again, just having those choke points, with Signature Bank, now with like the instability with Coinbase, are people going to be scared? We still need on and off ramps.
Right.
And is that going to deter people from coming on, getting a little bit of crypto and transferring off to their hardware wallet? And if you do not have a hardware wallet yet, please get yourself a Ledger, SafePal, Keystone, Trezor. I don't care. Just get something. Get something.
Absolutely.
Because things are
Really
super unstable. Yeah. I don't know if Janet Yellen and the Fed will bail out every single bank.
Well, I mean, if you listen, and I'm sure, I don't know, this would be a great thing for you to add to our wonderful collection of videos that you're putting out there. But if you could grab a couple of those exchanges with Janet Yellen, and I think it was the representative from Oklahoma.
Oh, I posted it. I did.
Oh, you did? Okay. So see, I'm a little bit behind.
One.
Even on our own channel, I'm a little bit behind on some of the things that Andrea puts out there. But that is just, it's laughable. It's a laughable exchange. It's like, wow. I mean, actually, it's frightening. I'm laughing because that's what I do when I'm in a situation that I'm not quite sure if I should be upset, if I'm trying, I'll laugh. So if Kelly's giggling in the corner and you're like, oh, this is really inappropriate, it's because she doesn't know what to do. So anyway, it's the same reaction when I was watching that video, just kind of shaking my head and laughing in disbelief, like, oh, wow, that couldn't have just been recorded and happened.
It was totally recorded. And then again, with Jerome Powell speaking at the FOMAC meeting yesterday, raising interest rates, like, our financial system is sound, Kelly. It's secure. We have adequate liquidity.
Yeah. Everybody's sleeping well at night.
Yeah. But here's a good question to think about and to sit with. What happens when the United States loses the world reserve currency? We can no longer print money out of thin air to bail out all of our systems, our banks, the corporations. We would lose that privilege, right?
Right.
So let's just sit with this. Like, things are changing so quickly.
Yeah, a lot faster than I think we were anticipating they would. Just from, not that we're experts by any stretch of the imagination, but just it seems a lot quicker. Yeah.
It's very quick. And again, like, even with Mexico wanting to join the BRICS nations, very concerning that we're cutting off trade. So, it's just like we import most things from other countries. And because we've weaponized our SWIFT system by sanctions, cutting off other countries, they're like, America, you're not nice. Not nice. I don't want to do business with you. So we're going to China, which is crazy because that's insane, right? Let's give China more power. And China's going to be looked upon like, China brought peace to the East. They ended the war with Russia and the Ukraine. You could see the narrative happening. So let's make the yuan the world reserve currency. I could see it happening. I'm not saying it is. It could be a basket of currencies backed by a bunch of different commodities. Let's hope for that. But at the same time, if you're an American and you're just holding dollars and you're not holding gold, silver, Bitcoin, I'm concerned for you.
Yeah, and not just Bitcoin. I mean, we can spread the love. I mean, a little bit within the cryptos. There's a lot of, because Bitcoin seems unfathomable for most people, and I completely get it. I mean, what is it trading at, around 28 today? All-time high so far at 69 or so. But there's other projects too that you can invest in a very meaningful way. Not financial advice. Again, we're only here for your entertainment, but that would still allow you to participate in the game. So, but Bitcoin is that store of value. Bitcoin is that gold. That's why the image on our on the cover for this particular podcast. Bitcoin is not a scam.
No, it's not a scam. And, and I just think, we have to look at like, okay, so again, I think, and it's really interesting because when you listen to people who aren't educated, and I always said from the beginning, right, Cal, people will say Bitcoin's a scam, it's funny money, it's going to zero. But then it's like, well, how much research have you done? Like, share with me what you've learned. Well, I have a bad feeling about it. Like, I don't like it. But it's like, once you do research on cryptocurrency, whether that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever it is, 100% of the people who actually research crypto invest in cryptocurrency, because then you get educated that this is the future of finance. And like, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about Bitcoin is simply because, number one, it is decentralized, right? So we have about 40,000 nodes. So if we think about like Bank of America or Wells Fargo, they have one point of failure. So if the hackers can get into their system and attack their one centralized server, they can bring down that particular banking system. Whereas Bitcoin has 40,000, if you think about nodes as servers, it's not, but if you think about like 40,000 computers all over the world, really hard to bring down Bitcoin because of that decentralized factor. Not one entity controls the blockchain for Bitcoin. Right. So important, so important. Now the government cannot freeze your funds. Like they don't have control. There's no CEO. There's no Jerome Powell of Bitcoin.
Yep, absolutely.
So I love that point so much. And the second thing is, and if I think about what's going on with our current financial system, it's kind of like, how transparent is the Fed with what's going on? Right?
Sorry, as I drink my coffee.
We have a transparent banking system and government, no problem, Like, think about, the news should be blasting about the BRICS nations and how like countries are moving away from trading with us. But they're not being transparent about that. But again, with Bitcoin, if I send Kelly a piece of Bitcoin, that's transparent. It's recorded on the blockchain on a distributed ledger. So if we think about an accounting system, right? So I send Kelly Bitcoin. You don't know it's me sending Kelly Bitcoin, but my address sent her address, 0.5 Bitcoin, and that is immutable, cannot be changed, and it's on the blockchain. 100% transparent, pseudo-anonymous. It's a much better system.
You can't erase the digit.
Exactly. And it's a much better system than what we currently have right now. And I think this is one of the reasons why the government doesn't want this, because the government is not transparent. The Fed is not transparent.
Well, you can't cook the books.
Right, you can't cook the books.
You can't cook the books like a bookie.
You can't print. You can't print more Bitcoin. Right? That's the other great thing. It's another reason why, Bitcoin's not a scam. There's 21 million Bitcoin ever created. So unless everyone decides, right, hey, we're going to change the code of Bitcoin, which no one's ever going to do, well, guess what? There's only 21 million Bitcoin. It is a scarce asset, like Kelly said. It's a store of value. So if we think about, what could be the next digital gold, I think about Bitcoin. And if you look, again, it's $28,000 for one Bitcoin, but you don't have to buy one. It's just like buying a little piece of digital gold. That's how I look at it, right? My store of value, just in case the dollar fails. We saw the banking crisis last week. We saw Bitcoin shoot up $8,000, and it's new. Right. Bitcoin was created out of the last crisis, so Bitcoin's never been through a financial crisis.
Right.
So we're gonna
exactly.
Yeah, right. So we're gonna see how well
it performs. It'll be fun, and as I always say, it's just handy, because even just looking at the charts, because I like to look, I'm more of a technical, I can see the patterns in the charts. Even through the cycles, Bitcoin consistently makes new highs and not lower lows. It's not piercing lines of resistance, even through the tumultuous times that we've had with C19 and this particular situation that we're in now. Now we'll see what October, September timeframe brings, but I don't see that. It would be really unusual with that. I just don't see that happening, but I'm not an expert by any means. But
yeah, and even if it goes back down, it's just when I look at the shifting, the paradigm shift of our economy, it will go back up. So, and that's why we just dollar cost average, right? So even if we're wrong with our technical analysis, we're not going all in at any price. We're just dollar cost averaging weekly, monthly, whatever it is, building our bags for that next bull cycle, or to protect ourselves from like the next financial crisis.
Right.
Because we don't know if this is over. Jerome Powell can say all he wants about Silicon Valley Bank, saying, well, that was an isolated incident. Okay, so these are the same people that said inflation is transitory. Janet Yellen, I think in 2017, she said, we're never going to see a financial crisis in our lifetime. Like that's it. We're not going to see another one. They're always wrong. And I really think that their job is to help to make the people believe in what they say, to stay calm and do not rise, do not question, and just do what you're told.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they want you to stand in line. They want you to stand in line as, like, even the CBDCs gets rolled out, or the FedNow apps get rolled out, to participate in a certain way versus being willing to step out of it.
Yeah, and it's like, I went to sleep last night thinking about so much of this. The Fed app is ready to be rolled out in July. We got the red carpet being rolled out for Russia and China. They're all going to be doing business together. I mean, is this all done? Is this a done deal? And they're just waiting for that next crisis, and then they'll swoop in with their solution once the people react.
Well, I think as we continue to see smaller banks being gobbled up by the big banks, and then that'll just be right alongside it.
Yep. It's very,
so
very...
banking side, are you seeing any of your small banks getting shuttered?
Not here. I just so Rowan works for a startup company, and her company's bank is Silicon Valley Bank. So, but again, the government came in and said, we got you, because there's a lot of Chinese foreign investors, Gavin Newsom, all of the startup companies, they all bank with Silicon Valley Bank. And if it is an isolated incident, which I just don't think it is, because when I look at it, I see the Fed create the problem. I mean, it's just like, you lowered interest rates, you gave out almost free money to all these banks, and now you're raising interest rates, and the banks can't keep up paying their bills. So, I don't know how many smaller banks are going to fall, but how about like in Portland?
Well, the only thing that I've seen recently, and it was a precursor to the whole situation that we've seen recently, was one bank did acquire another bank. A larger bank acquired a smaller bank. So that did happen. But in terms of some of the smaller, it's more credit unions here. We don't have, at least in the city. Now, I don't know what's in the regional, out in the country and more rural areas. If they still have smaller banks, I would imagine they probably do. But here it's mostly credit unions and the bigger banks.
Okay.
So just the one.
And again, we could really see like a large consolidation, and I think that we will. And again, it's just like I see us nationalizing a lot of the banks, right? So if we nationalize the banks, it just makes it a lot easier for everybody to download their Fed app in July, after the next crisis happens. I could see that as like a potential possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, we'll watch it. I mean, and if we think about, our banking system is just changing, right, Kel? Like, I know with Coinbase, you could get your check deposited on Coinbase. Like, Coinbase isn't a bank, but is it going to be? And are they being sued so they have to pay more money in order to play in the new paradigm?
Well, and Coinbase was also allowing you to do direct deposit of your tax refund last year into your Coinbase account. So to me, it's curious that they would be going after Coinbase because Coinbase seems to be somewhat of a partner with the government to some degree, it seems. So I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And maybe because like Congress isn't doing anything, like they're not really like passing any bills either way for regulatory framework, we can't keep the SEC going through litigation by enforcement, right? So because that's just not the right thing to do. You're hurting innovation. Most of Ripple's business is outside the country. Coinbase is now looking outside. They're moving outside the country with their platform. Was it Brazil that they're looking to open up a new exchange?
I think it was Brazil. Yeah.
So again, it's like this hurts innovation in America. I've listened to Jerome Powell now for over 3 years whenever he speaks, and he said, the economy is recovering, but we are recovering to a different economy based on technology. So how is this in the best interest of United States citizens to continuously sue and go after all of the innovative projects that we have going on, that's part of the new economy? So are you really trying to like bring America to its knees? Like your job is supposed to be to protect us, empower us, be super innovative. These projects go to the SEC like, hey, give us the rule book. We want to follow the rules. Give us the rule book.
Yeah.
I mean, Coinbase got approved to be a publicly traded company. You could go on the stock exchange. Their ticker symbol is coin. And all of a sudden, after all these years, now the SEC sues them.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I feel like it's such a distraction to what's really happening. So
Yeah. And it's like, it's getting to the point now where I almost feel gross. It's like, it's yucky. It's so yucky. Yeah. It's not a good feeling, like, the way they, the programming that they put in us about America, it's just like how much more corrupt and unstable all of these things are going on right now. It's not a good situation. And most Americans are going to be left behind. They don't hold the gold, the silver. They don't have the community. It's just all of these different things are going on. And I just think people are, chopping wood and carrying water, but we got to carve out some time to do some deep dives. So, if you're hearing this, you don't know anything about crypto, we're doing a Q&A this Saturday. Come and join us. Bring your questions. It's $10. We do it just to kind of help, just get people's questions answered, point you in the right direction. And that's 11 o'clock Eastern time this Saturday.
Yeah, super simple. You can register right on our website under classes and events. And yeah, it's fun. All kinds of questions come up, and there's no such thing as a stupid question ever under any context. especially these things that are really foreign, and it's a really foreign landscape for most people. So
Yeah. 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 So I kind of feel like we went like full circle. So let's go back to Bitcoin for 1 second.
yeah.
So the other thing I want to touch base about Bitcoin. So you remember, Kel, when the Canadians had the truck convoy and they were protesting against the shot?
Yep.
What did the Canadian government do?
They freeze their assets.
And how do we protect ourselves from censorship, from a tyrannic government?
Well, we become decentralized and we keep everything in our own banks. We become our own bank.
We become our own banks, and every single person was sending other people Bitcoin.
Yep.
When we look at Nigeria and we look at Turkey and we look at Lebanon and we look at some of these other failing countries, they go to Bitcoin. They go to Bitcoin because that's what they understand and that's what they know. It is censorship resistant. There is no third party intermediary that can shut down your money. It's not just Bitcoin, but I talk about Bitcoin because, again, I think for the average person, they don't know what Polkadot is or even XRP. You know, it's
Right.
just like, but they've heard of Bitcoin and they know that Bitcoin is peer to peer transactions. You know, they might not understand what that means, but they do know. And that's usually what people, are going to.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. And if, again, I just think like, you think about the blockchain in general, like, you know, there's cryptography, there's all of these different ways to secure the systems now that are way more secure than our current financial system. So our new financial system is going to be built on the blockchain. BlackRock talks about it. JP Morgan talks about it. Deloitte talks about it. Accenture, every single major company is talking about moving to the blockchain, right? So if you think about, well, what the hell is cryptography? Well, just think like I got a secret code and this is my secret code. These are my private keys. And I'll share them with Kelly, but only Kelly can see them. No one else can.
Right.
So we have a secret, but it's
Yep.
transparent on the blockchain, but you don't know it's me and Kelly.
Yep. It's all these codes filtering around in the ether that belong to something and or someone. Yep.
Right. And then again, just in terms of adoption, like I do believe that Bitcoin obviously is the most adopted cryptocurrency. There's over 100,000 merchants that use Bitcoin. Okay. And if you think that this isn't, just be like, oh, I can't go to McDonald's, right? And buy my, maybe my McPlant, because we're not going to be eating meat much longer. Right. So if I want to go buy my McPlant burger at McDonald's, I can't do that with Bitcoin. But again, it's just like we have the world reserve currency. We are one of the last to adopt
Yeah.
this. But you look at countries who have adopted Bitcoin, corporations who have adopted Bitcoin, as well as all of these merchants, right? It's a lot. You could go to overstock.com. I think you could go to Microsoft. You could buy a computer. You could pay in Bitcoin. You can go to Travala.com. You could book your hotel. You can pay not only Bitcoin, but a lot of different cryptocurrencies. Square, PayPal. Like there's a lot of different, we're seeing this mass adoption happen. And again, it's always like it starts off so slow. Change is always very slow. And then all of a sudden, all at once. Same thing with the de-dollarization and the United States losing its world reserve currency. Very, very slow. They've been talking about it for many, many years. And then all of a sudden yesterday, you see, the leaders of Russia and China shaking hands, being like, good job. We just changed the course of the next 100 years. Like, whoa, that just happened.
You know what? All of a sudden, I'm sitting here and I'm standing in a grocery store line and I'm watching somebody write a check. And it's like, do you remember when we used to have to write a check at the, I mean, I know we're dating ourselves, both Andrea and I have gray hair, but yeah, there was a time that's all it was in our lifetime. So it's amazing to see it.
Yeah, amazing to see the transformation. And I think it was pretty late last night. So like at Two Women in Crypto, like we have like our little private group. You could hit us up, but go to twowomeninCrypto.com, check out our Telegram group, because we're constantly posting things real time, right? So if something major is happening, we all know about it like that.
Yeah, and, part of our membership.
Yeah. So there's an article I saw, was on CNBC News, where you could go into Panera and you can use your Palm to pay for your salad. Right?
I know, that's just wild. I mean, first and foremost, whatever. I'm not going to be doing my Palm. But second of all, it's like, why your whole flipping Palm? I mean, it's like, hey, I'd be like, just give me. I mean, I thought it was interesting that they did the whole Palm. Anyway, but apparently this has been going on for quite a while.
Yeah. And maybe this is like a normal thing for like people who live in cities. Like I live in such a small town. We're just getting QR codes, so it's a slower process.
That I know of. I don't know of anybody who's saying, paying with their Palm, but I'm really not out in the world. I'm in my little community and that's about it.
Well, to me though, too, it's super concerning though, right? Because like if we're paying with our Palm, and let's say we've been excommunicated because we've been trying to educate people on, hey, become your own bank, question things, use critical thinking. Well, that's kind of going against the narrative of like blindly 100% trust the government, right? So what happens if my Palm gets rejected from society and I can't pay for things in Bitcoin? I can only pay for things with my Palm. That changes things a little bit.
Well, and I think it's important to mention that this is part of Amazon One.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's just look at what Amazon, I mean, we know how gargantuan Amazon is, but between offering medical insurance and now they have this Amazon One, which I was not aware of, honestly, until that article was posted. But apparently, because they shop at Whole Foods that often, I guess it's also this Palm rating thing is part of their rollout in some of the Whole Foods, and some of their other shopping systems that they have.
Yeah, for sure. And again, it's just like, as like a person, a sovereign person, do you question, hey, where's my data going? How is my data being used? Where is my data being stored? Is it on a decentralized blockchain? Or is it just on AWS web servers where Google and Amazon can collect all my data and target me for anything, right? Like creating algorithms just for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. Like we're moving into this new world, but what I'm hoping and what Kelly is hoping for is like, let's all get educated and move to a decentralized world. Because Kelly, we're decentralized girls.
Right, we are. We are decentralized girls, absolutely. Yeah, and we know we're going to have probably a foot in both worlds. I mean, we know that.
We know.
But at least we have options. And Rogue knows that too. He's joining us this morning. So, yeah, absolutely.
Rogue is Kelly's beautiful puppy. Where's your head, Rogue? Look how good looking this dog is. Hi, baby.
He is. I love it. He's a bit lovely this morning. So, yep.
All right. Awesome. So I wanted to kind of follow up because I've been sitting with like a lot of things about, folks going and talking to their accountants, financial advisors. I've been having people like book sessions with me. Andrea, I know you're not a financial advisor, but my financial advisor doesn't know anything. Right?
Yeah, it's a really common theme.
Really, really concerning, right? So it'll be like in the body of our video this week. So Project Cedar is it's kind of like targeted as like a wholesale CBDC. So like central banks can send each other their central bank digital currency, but for institutions, right? Not for retail, not for citizens. And I think that this is fine. We don't want a retail CBDC that could be programmed in and out of our app, because it just leads to more tyranny. Even if they sell it, like, you're going to have privacy and rights. I'm telling you guys right now, it's a slippery slope. Especially after Christine Lagarde was being interviewed, and she was like, well, we are going to have more control. And that's the way it's going to be. And that's it. This is it. This is the only solution. Because cryptocurrency and all these other decentralized projects, we don't even talk about that. We're just going to crush them, and everyone's going to be on this, and you're going to do what you're told. And like, it's very, very concerning. But it's called the Cedar, Project Cedar. They just finished their pilot program. It's with the New York Fed, and that link is going to be in the description. And I wanted to touch base on this because it wasn't too long ago, right, when the SWIFT did a pilot program with Chainlink, which is the largest oracle that will be used to connect traditional finance with decentralized finance. So it's the bridge, or it's the oracle, it's the bridge for TradFi to the new DeFi system. And the pilot with SWIFT was super successful, and it looks like they're doing the same thing within Project Cedar. So like, check out the link. I think the pilot with the CBDC with the New York Fed was with 18 other central banks, and that pilot is done, and let's wait and see what happens. And just FYI, that was done with Quorum, which is the centralized version of Ethereum by JP Morgan, and R3 Corda. R3 Corda uses the XDC token. They can use any token, but that token is specifically with R3 Corda. And they just had their conference, the Ethereum Dubai conference is going on right now. And there was this, if you go to XDC's website, it's like ISO 222 XDC network. I mean, it's live. So it takes time. But again, we're moving into a new financial system. They are telling us, they are showing us, and what clarity. And like, kind of like, I've been researching this for so long with the new messaging system. And again, it's like, okay, XDC is going to be used, maybe with trading and all these different things, but all the messaging system is going to this new format.
Yeah. And XDC, for those that are interested in exploring it, here in the United States, you cannot get it on any major exchange. You can use a platform called Uphold. Again, not financial advice, but that's where you can acquire it here.
Yeah. And these are just good stepping stones to start your research. Make a list of all your favorite coins and look at the team, look at the adoption, look at their roadmap, read their white paper, and just, like I said, it's definitely time to get educated. And,
isn't XTC just trading at like 3 or 4 cents? Last time I looked, I haven't looked recently.
Yeah, I haven't even looked either, because to me, XTC is just one of those longer term, holds. Because like, as we move into the new financial system, and we see XDC, we see Stellar Lumens, we see XRP. I mean, IBM WorldWire. Go to IBM's website, and you can see they chose the Stellar protocol for their cross-border payments, and they will be using XLM. It's right there. It's on their website, and we're just waiting.
Yep.
Very exciting. Very exciting. But when I think about the interoperability of what Chainlink is going to do, I'm very, very bullish on Chainlink. I think it's going to have a strong second half of 2020.
I know we talked just recently about Chainlink, and overarchingly, I think it's a great project to be involved in, no doubt.
Totally. So I was, I guess it was like a couple of weeks ago, I saw like Synthetix had gone up another 30%. And we covered Synthetix a while ago on all the different trading and derivatives platform. And Synthetix was built as part of the Ethereum ecosystem. But they just built, it's called Synthetix Teleporter. and it's a cross-chain solution to allow instant liquidity between multiple chains. So if you're on a chain that doesn't have liquidity, well, don't worry, Synthetix is going to provide that for you, connecting with freaking Chainlink.
Oh, there you go.
So look at the derivatives market. How much are derivatives worth? How much of that? It's huge. I mean, you're talking quadrillions of dollars. How much of that will be, funneled into Synthetix through Ethereum, which is the most adopted smart contract platform looking to basically build the new world computer? I don't know. I would place my bet. Oh, I already did.
There you go.
Yeah. For complete transparency, I hold Synthetix. I hold Chainlink. And again, I think when I see more and more adoption, especially with Chainlink, I'm just so super bullish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even with all these anti-crypto bills coming up, because it's very, very sad.
It is. It'll be interesting to see what sticks, if anything, really.
Yeah, and again, it's like they want to control crypto, right? They want everyone on a central bank digital currency. They don't want you to have an alternative currency of choice, right? They don't want you to use XRP or, Bitcoin or any pick a project, right? They want you to be on your central bank digital currency. We have a climate crisis. Everybody has to go on a carbon credit score. It sounds insane, but this is their long-term plan.
Yeah. Yep.
Just check out Do Economy. I made a video about that. It'll actually shut your card off once you've reached your allotted credit carbon units for the day. So I know. It's so sad.
It's a new world, that's for sure.
It really is a new world. So, just to kind of think about, obviously, like, I want to wrap this up with you, Kel, because I think there's a couple things I want to be looking at. And this is something we were talking about yesterday. Kelly and I went on a walk together,
Yeah.
West Coast walk, talking about, holy cow, holy cow, holy cow. But, the Fed raised interest rates 0.25, right? And then they're asking Jerome Powell all these questions. And I want everybody to write this down and follow the commercial real estate market. Because again, everyone's working at home. Everybody's either working 100% remote or doing some sort of hybrid schedule. And even like Kelly and I were talking about Google, right? It's like, well, Kelly and I work at Google and Kelly's in the office Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. She's got her desk. And then on Tuesday and Thursday, I'm sharing the desk with Kelly because we're downsizing our commercial real estate property.
Right.
We don't need this huge space anymore. We just need this little space. Everybody share a desk. And again, are the real, how bad is it? Like, how bad is the commercial real estate right now? With leases, are people going to renew their leases? Are people just going to walk away? A lot of empty buildings coming out, which I think could be part of like, hey, it's a great time to build smart cities.
Well, yeah, I mean, the empty building syndrome began with C19, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And it hasn't really stopped. Maybe, I know a lot of companies were like, we don't need 25,000 square feet. We need 2,500. Like the whole floor is empty. We're not using the space. So, again, that's a big part of our economy. So I really want to watch that. And the other thing is too, because the banks have been failing, they can actually tighten their credit so they won't lend out as much money. If they don't lend out as much money, that'll actually lower inflation. And then the Fed doesn't have to continuously raise interest rates. But Kelly and I both agree, Jerome Powell has no plans on stopping.
No.
Right.
Nope. Rogue agrees.
Rogue agrees, and he knows all. So
Oracle, get down.
Yeah, so just super interesting. These are definitely things that we're keeping our eye out, and we're always going to bring you the news the best that we can. Things change so quickly. I started working on the podcast on Monday and I stopped because we pre-record this on Thursday morning. It's like everything will be done and we'll be on to something completely different.
That's exactly right. I remember we chatted Monday and you're like, and I'm like, you might as well just wait, right? Let's see what else is going to happen in the next few days.
Yep. So we'll be keeping a pulse on everything, and let's keep our fingers crossed that this Ripple lawsuit case is gonna wrap up, because we're ready.
Absolutely.
All right. So come on, join us on Saturday. And Kelly, you got anything else for us?
No, I think the biggest thing is just continue to
hodl on.
Your hosts for Two Women in Crypto are Andrea Caldero and Kelly Lair. You'll find more information and details regarding the Two Women in Crypto membership, educational and informative class and event offerings, and more via their website, twowomenencrypto.com. Both Andrea and Kelly are available for speaking events and offer private consultations focused on helping individuals navigate the future. Until next time, hodl on.